Okay, I've got some of you back. Hello, Sherry. We're starting over. Okay, so Jolinda, now we know why we don't put music on. I got booted off for using music that doesn't belong to me. It's a little funny. Okay, so I'm just plugging my power cord in here. So that's why we had to start again. It's always a learning curve. You'd think we'd know it for sure, but we don't. So next time, Jolinda's going to be on early with me, and she'll sing for us. Okay, but so this is not Upstyle. This is pickup class for August, and today we are featuring the Trees for Sale stamp set and the Tree Lot dies from Celebration. That's where we left off when Facebook says and booted me off. So here we go. Hello, Suzanne. Good to have you here. And for those who did pop back on with me, I'm so happy that you stuck around. Okay, business. So the first week, the first day of September, it will be a Thursday. I was going to switch to the Fridays, but no, sorry, I'm just going to stick to my schedule. Thursday it is. Okay. So September 1st will be, our Upstyling Your Paper Pumpkin. Now, you may have seen the paper pumpkin kit already, and it's gorgeous. I've seen pictures. I don't have mine. And this may be, let's make them together because they're so gorgeous the way they're designed. And it might be a deeper dive into the stamp set that is there. So it will be an Upstyle, but we may be looking at a slightly different format. Okay, use it up for September. We're going to be using up the vellum layering paper, as well as we're going to combine that with bouquets. So look for a stamp set or a single stamp that's just a nice large floral composition, and that's what we'll be doing for September 8th. Moving right along, in September coming up, we have our pickup class, which is Bring Your Own Supplies, on September 15th. And that class is going to feature the Oceanfront stamp set. Okay, so you could use oceanfront, you could use, there was a meadow and a snow scene, any of those. Basically, we're just going to kind of be working with these types of watercolor images that we can create scenes with. All right, that will be our pickup class a month from now. And September's Technique Time featured class is going to be the Texture Chic Suite. So notice we have a week off because there are 5 Thursdays in September. So we are going to feature the Season of Chic stamp set and the dies. And what's fun about this is that we're going to hit all 4 seasons. So it will be a 4 project class instead of 3. We will be featuring the paper from this suite is so pretty, but we are going to stamp winter, spring, summer, and fall with one set. Now look at this piece in these dies, in this die set rather. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And you've got fall leaves, you've got shells, snowflakes, flowers. It's going to be a great class. Don't miss it. How can you get it for free? Is you can have a purchase in September using the host code, which will get you the class for free. If you want free shipping as well as a free class and a use-up kit, spend $75. And that will be on September's host code. Okay, and I don't think we'll go into October. We'll hit those later. But let's jive. Let's jump right in to today's class. Now, this isn't today's class, but I have some extras that I thought I would show. So you might want to screenshot some of these. But first, this is the stamp set that we're using. It's on page 39 in the July-December catalog. And there is a, in the celebration, if you jumped on it soon enough, there was a, with $100 purchase, matching dies. And it has the camper, and the camper just is like, so cool. But we're going to take a deep dive into this. But first, let me show you a few samples. This was on my blog a little while ago, okay? So this is, you know, it doesn't have to be Christmassy. It can just be, you know, a summer camp out type of thing, okay? And on this one, I particularly love the little red gems here as the backup lights and that sort of thing. Here's a sneak peek. This is for Stampin' Fancy Friday for their sketch. You haven't seen this yet, but it will come up, I think, Sunday. So you don't have basic gray, but you have smoky slate and gray granite, which would be closer. Do the smoky slate, Sherry. It would be, or gray granite. They're both fairly dark, and you're talking ink wise. If it's cardstock, do the smoky slate. All right, so here's another one. And then this one you may have seen as well on my blog. This was from a while ago. Anyhow, so cute stuff. And notice the paper here. I'm going to talk about that paper in just a second. Now on for today's class, let me show you what we're going to make. We're not going to make this tag, but I wanted you to see that little Charlie Brown tree. These are the cards we're going to be doing today. So we are in what I call a shiny bright palette. And what do I mean by shiny bright? If you have ever collected shiny bright or know of the vintage Christmas ornaments, they often had pinks and turquoise and bright green and, you know, and they included reds and yellows, but I love that turquoise, pink, silver, bright green, those colors. To me, I guess that's why I like Brenda Lee's Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, is that vintage quintessential feel for me. Okay, so that's where I was going. And if you turn the page, so this is page 38, and on the next page is the trees for sale. But this card right here, I particularly like the colors and the layout in this card. So you're going to see, we're going to case that one. We'll make this one last, probably. But this card here is a case of this Yeti card. And I really like this Yeti card. I even like the stamp set, but it didn't meet my criteria for, you know, how often would I use it? While I like the Yeti, I wasn't going to buy it. But anyway, so it's like, well, I'll pay homage to it by casing one of the cards from there. And so you can see I've used that Bermuda Bay and the green and kind of did my placement of trees. And then I've kind of added a focal image. And even my background is the same as that. So this was the jumping off point for the class. And I'll talk a little bit more about that embossing folder a little bit later. But so here's our cards we're going to do. Okay. Working in a different direction here. And here's another one. We're not going to make this one, but I did want you to see in those dies, you're like, what is this tiny little die in here? I love that you can make a little Charlie Brown tree. And, you know, that would be just the right size to fit into a camper. I thought, smart detail there, Stampin' Up. But, and I just used some of the same elements that I have for these cards. So on with the class and let's get to making. We're going to make this one first. Okay. And so what you will need today, you are going to need a half sheet of thick basic white. Okay. So let's start with a piece of thick basic white. And it's going to be, I did a top fold, but if you want to do 5.5 by 8.5, go for it. Oh, thanks, Marcia. I like them. I like the colors, but you could easily switch these colors out if you want to be more traditional. Okay, so I'm starting out with a 4.25 by 11. Okay, 4.25 by 11, scored at 5.5. Pretty easy. Okay, and I have a 1/4 sheet of regular. So this is the basic white. It's not the thick. This is the thick. I like the thick to put my card, you know, use as a card base. I do not like to stamp on this. It does not stamp the same as basic white, okay? There's a little bit of a texture difference, okay? So we're gonna need that. We're gonna need some die cuts here, and I've done mine ahead of time just to speed things up a little bit. But I'll tell you what these are. This is polished pink, And these are both die cut from Stylish Shapes, okay? And measurement wise, circle wise, this one measures about 2.5 across. So you're looking for that. So if you were switching out the colors, this could easily be red, and then this could be more of a garden green or old olive, and you could kind of change up the colors. And then this is the, I believe, is this the largest banner in there? I think it's either the second to largest or the largest, but this one from the indentation to indentation, so is 3 inches. So you're looking for that, okay? Other paper used in this card, there's a scrap of Bermuda Bay, okay? And then I have some silver foil, and then this is Bermuda Bay foil. Do you remember the Waves collection when it was first, look, you can see me, ha ha. When the first time we saw that Waves collection, we had the blue foils, and it had Night of Navy, Bermuda Bay, and silver. So in the spirit of using things up, even though it has been retired, if you have it, pull it out. If not, pull out some silver foil and just Bermuda Bay. There you have it. And then you can paint it with your Wink of Stella and be set to go. All right. The other paper that I'm using, there is a paper, you guys, this stack. So look at this stack. It's 12 by 12 paper. I can't even fit the whole thing in here. It's 12 by 12 paper. And you can find this in the back of the July-December catalog. Let me see if I can find the right page. I will be featuring it in a Use It Up class coming up soon. But in the back of the July-December catalog, as a host, so if you had a party of $150 yourself or combined with a couple friends, this Celebrate Everything 12 by 12 paper pack of 48 pieces is $18. It's such a cool pack of paper. It has all kinds of fun things in there. If you want to see the paper, just comment and say, yeah, show us the paper. For right now, I'm going to bust out one of these pieces. I'm going to take this piece out here. But I mean, just look at this one. It's so cute. So cute. The little, but it's not just Christmas. You've got a little touch of Halloween and some fall in there as well, which is nice because, you know, sometimes you want a little Halloween, but you don't want a whole pack's worth, if you know what I mean. So this piece here, it's Pool Party. It kind of looks like waves, or you could turn it over and it looks like little snowy hills. The back side of this is, you know, some exploding fireworks. So, you know, that would tie right into New Year's or to any summer celebration. So it celebrates everything. Oh, yes, you're right, Kayleen. It says that it's 12 sheets, but you're right. It is 48. So it's 48 sheets. So anyhow. All right, so moving right along. I need a piece of this. And so I'm going to cut this down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, so let's start there. 4 1/4. What? There's like sand or something in my paper cut. Oh, it's not sand. It's wheat bread crumbs. I was eating a piece. There's a store here called the Great Harvest Bakery, and they make the best bread. And so I like to go there and buy a different, you know, each week I buy a different flavor. And this last week I bought a wheat, and man, it's just tasty. Tasty, tasty bread. Okay, so there's my Pool Party. The other piece of paper that I'm going to need, and I'm not quite sure of the page that it's on, but if we go to the catalog, there's a pack of paper, and we'll look for it up in the back on page 40. So page 40, so we just have to go one more page this way to see it. It's snowy vellum, it's called, all right, so specifically, it's called Snowflake Specialty Vellum, okay? And this paper here, let's see, we have some iridescent, this one I cut in half, But look at that silver and so it's vellum with silver iridescent. Same pattern here. We have, or similar pattern, I should say. Look at that flocked, the white flock. You guys, this is nice and fuzzy. My card I used, and I don't have much left, so I'm gonna have to switch pattern, but that's okay. So this little like snowball type piece, super, super cute. I'm gonna use this one for now, but take a closer look at that. If you like that type of vellum and that sort of specialty type of paper, keep your eye on this one. It's really quite pretty. And it's $10. You get 6 sheets, 2 of each. So pretty stuff, folks. And it's kind of tucked in the catalog and hidden. So you can see I used that kind of, I'm going to call it the snowball piece. And it's this layer here that I'm referring to. So I'm going to just swap this piece in because I don't have any more of that. Okay. So let me cut a piece. And so this piece is going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4. Okay. Now, if you don't have this type of paper, grab a piece of vellum. All right. And maybe use a white pad and go ahead and stamp some snowflakes or whatever you choose, but just, you know, have some fun. You can make a background. If you use white ink, you're going to have to emboss it because it will never dry on vellum if you don't. Just FYI. All right, so now we know how we're going to kind of start this, you know, start our layout here. So I'm going to put my blue, I'm going to fill the entire front of my card base with this piece of DSP. And I can feel I need to take my bone folder to give my card a better crease because it's popping up on me. Okay, so I would like to see you guys in the comments, what are your favorite go-to Christmas colors? When you see it in the stores or, you know, whether it's gift wrap or whatever, what's your favorite colors for Christmas? What are your favorite colors? What's your palette? Okay. I have options I can do. I mean, I can do, I have enough stuff. Well, I have tons and tons of Christmas decor, but enough that I could do, I could do, you know, a green and white tree, which I really like to do. It's green and white and, you know, has natural stuff in it with a lot of hit of gold. I can do a totally vintage tree. I can do all kinds of Santas and do it all Santa Clauses. There's just lots to do. Cherry cobbler for sure. Nancy, you're funny. You're using them. Oh, good. I like it. It's just a little vintage vibe. Okay, so you can kind of see I'm just throwing a little bit of glue here and I'm putting it behind, well, on the back of these, where the flock is, okay? So that I can hold things down without my adhesive showing. Okay, Kat's traditional. She loves red and white. Denise is a traditional. Okay, so Denise, for today's class, you're gonna pull out reds and greens. And where I have pink, put red. Where I have like turquoise or pool party, that sort of thing, put green. You know, just change it up a little. All right, so now my paper is there and none of that adhesive shows. So you have to always be clever and smart and outthink vellum and where you're going to put the elements for it. Okay, so now we need to create, speaking of elements, we need to create our elements. So let's bring the card in here and look and see what we're going to be stamping. So I need to stamp So Very Merry on my banner. So let's just do that now. And we'll get the heat embossing. This is the only heat embossing we're going to do in this class. But I'm going to give myself, my breadcrumbs are everywhere, you guys. It's such good bread. If you were here, I'd buy you a loaf. And it's Thursday today. I know we're like, why are you talking about bread? But that bakery today is red, white, and blueberry cake bread. It's so good. Just ask Julie Beltramo. She's had some. Okay, so I'm looking for So Very Merry. I have double images on my blocks here, but there's the So Very Merry. So Marcia, you get tired of the red and green, like Bermuda Bay, poppy, and olive. Yep. It just depends on the mood and what I'm interested in doing. I will tell you, I look at, so here's what I do. So wait, I want to see. I have turned more than colors, blues for snowflakes, red and black gingham for Christmas, yes. Yeah, buffalo plaid has been very in the last few years. So I'm stamping So Very Merry in here. I was reading Kayleen's comment here. I agree. I really love the red and white check that's been popular the last several years. But what I like to do is, you know, right after Christmas, I like to go and buy what's ever left gift wrap wise. I like to buy bags and boxes and paper, and then that will dictate what I'm going to, you know, how color-wise, what I'm going to make my tags look like for the next year. So that's what I try to do. I don't always succeed, but you know. Okay, is the vellum? Yes, Sherry. Vellum is 5 1/4 by 4. Perfect. Denise, Barney loves the gnomes. Awesome. Marcia McCune, burnt orange. You know, we had a lot of clients back when I was working at Bloomster's that we would transition them from Thanksgiving decor into Christmas. And in doing so, we would often, you know, keep a lot of the Thanksgiving stuff up and just add some pine sprays and that sort of thing. And that carried over and looked great in a lot of homes. Burnt orange, copper, burgundy. Super, super pretty. Okay, I am going to heat tool this. So here comes the noise. Okay, there is my tag, my banner, not tag. There you have it. Okay, and I remembered to heat it not on my paper. When I heat on my paper, it buckles my paper, and then I have all these crazy ups and downs in my scratch paper, and it affects your stamping. Okay, so speaking of that, I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper here so that I can do some stamping on this. So I'm going to stamp the trees here. And these trees kind of have a mottled look to them. And so we'll catch that mottled look here. How to do that, how to achieve it. So Kayleen says cutting in and out. I don't know, is anybody else cutting in and out? It doesn't seem to be on my end, but then again, I'd never know. Okay, so polished pink. That's what we're going for next here. And we're going to stamp each of the trees. So there's the small tree. Okay, you can see I have 2 images on a block, and that's kind of the detail that fits in that tree. Okay, Kayleen, did you see Suzanne and Sherry and Denise and Jolinda said that they're okay. So again, I've doubled up my block there. And then here is the larger tree. And I've got green ink all over this one. So let me give it a quick clean before I get green ink on my project. Okay, so to do this, kind of, it's not just a solid tree. It kind of has a little bit of a pattern to it. I want to show you how I do that. And I've been doing this quite a bit lately, just to get some cool looks. Okay, so I'm ink up really well in polished pink. Now on a piece of scratch paper, just set your image down and let the weight of the block take some of the ink off. And you see how it took it off definitely on the edges here, but it left some right there. Now I'm going to huff on that and stamp that. And there you can see I've got kind of, you know, it's not a rock solid image, but that's okay. This isn't my focal point. These are going to be some pieces that are going to help set the scene of my card. And I really like it when it takes it off the edges here because it looks like it's almost weighted with snow, okay? So I need one in each size. So here comes a small. Okay, ink it up well. Let the weight of the block take the ink off. Huff on it. And there you have it. And so this one, oh look, I have an extra friend on there. Stupid. So I'll have a little surprise right there, but that's okay. And do the same thing here. Ink it up. Let the weight of the block remove some ink. Give a little huff on it. All right. So it's kind of an interesting technique. If you're not sure about that, go ahead and just stamp off more solid, or just go for a definite, you know, deep pink. That works as well. So you're going to die cut those out, okay? So die cut yourself 3 trees, one of each size, and I've got some done here ahead of time. Look at that one, looks really cool, I think. I really like the way that one turned out, okay? You just never know what you're going to get. So die cut those. And we also need to die cut some other elements here. So let's stamp those other elements. And I want to talk about stamping and die cutting these elements that we're going to be working with. Okay, so we're working with the Christmas lights. Now, I want to show you something. What's important on the lights, and I'm going to take them off the blocks just so that you can see how to do this for sure with this particular stamp set. Now, if I take my block, I'm going to take this off as well for now. But don't let me forget where I put it. All right. So if I do this and I put this on here, I have a tendency, yes, I can kind of drop it, but I have a tendency if I put it on that I might misshape it, okay? And if you misshape while you're putting it onto your block, your stamp, it doesn't fit in the die, okay? So here's what I want you to do is put it face down so that the sticky side or the block side is up, and pick it up with the block, okay? That way you know it has a memory and it's snapped back to its original shape, if you know what I mean. So let's do the same thing with the strand of lights here. Okay, just pick it up. Whoops. Hello, I picked it up on the wrong side. I put it on this one. I'm like, man, that's not sticking very well. She's a little dumb. Okay. All right, so that's what you're going to want to do for this. All right, so now I'm going to stamp my lights in. This one I stamped in Bermuda Bay and Granny Apple. I'm going to change my color palette just a little bit. I am going to stamp those lights in basic gray. So you can do them in Granny Apple. You could do any combination, but I'm going to do them in basic gray, or you could use smoky slate ink. I just didn't want to use black. I didn't want to go that dark. And I'm having fun using basic gray because I had lost basic gray for almost a year, and I found it the other day. I'm like, yay, where have you been for a year? All right, so there are my light bulbs. And then I'm going to stamp in Bermuda Bay, I'm going to stamp my poles. That's the beauty of making a card the second time. You can go, I'm going to try a slightly different color palette here to see if I like it better or if I was right on the first time. Okay, I'm going to move that out of the way. Open pad. So now I'm inking up the pole, the light pole here. Okay. And I'm going to stamp 2 of them. And I'm going to stamp them right next to each other. There's 1. And here's 2. Okay. So now, if you've been around me stamping live, you may know that I'm like, tell it who's boss. And, you know, when working like with a big shot and stuff, I'm like, you don't need washi tape. Come on, tell it who's boss. But you do need washi tape for these dies right here. I needed washi tape for these because they're long and narrow. They have a tendency to jump and move when you put it into your big shot. So I have been using washi tape to actually do any of the die cutting here. And so I'll take this washi tape off. You can tell I've been cutting things out. I'll leave that one on. But when you're lining this up, you think, oh, I'm gonna put my circles in there, right? But actually you've got to go up, and I don't know if I can see how that little die has a little bit of a, it's round and then it has like a little bit of a you know, it's wider at the top. You've got to get that up all the way into, you need to be seeing the string, the cord for these lights in there. If you don't see the cord in the die, you're not going to cut it out right, okay? So that's how you're going to cut that one out. And lining this one up, what I do, I realize I have a little washi tape in the way there, but we'll just move that out of the way. What I do is it's hard to see this end where you're putting it. So I start with this end here, okay? And I put that on the bottom of that pole. And then I'm just looking, like right now, if I lay that down, I can see that I don't have any green color in there. I'm looking to have that green color pop through that little hole right there, okay? And so you're going to die cut all three of those pieces as well, okay? I have mine done ahead of time just for time's sake because it could take a long time. But I want to show you how good it looks when you, and I have several cut out already, see when you use that washi tape, you're going to have success. Like I say, I don't always use washi tape, but I find on occasion you do need it, all right? And these little poles, yeah, I might be slightly off, but hey, it's a hand creation and it's okay. It adds charm. Here's my other pole. We'll take this out of the way for now. All right, so now we have most of our elements ready to go. What we do need is we need a camper and we need some bling for our camper. So I love this camper. We're gonna cut the camper. I haven't cut my camper yet, but I'm gonna cut my camper here. And I'm also going to cut an extra piece right in there. I'm going to cut so that I catch the wheel and the hitch, okay? So if you just slip that in there, okay? I'm gonna run both through at the same time. And I'm gonna cut that here in just a second. And you're going to need the little flags. And that's what I used for, I used this piece of Bermuda Bay to cut the flags. Okay, so cut the flags, cut your camper and your hitch. You can do that all at the same time. So I'm gonna do mine now. I feel like my big shot is so far away today. Because I have my computer in there for my pirated music. Oh, it's too funny. Okay. So, here's what we have. We have our camper. Super cute in this Bermuda Bay. Okay. And you might want to keep track of those windows just in case you need them. And here is the trailer hitch. I probably should have gone back and forth. It doesn't quite want to let go. Okay, so there's my trailer hitch. And you can see you don't need the whole thing. And here is my flags. Okay, so now we have all of our pieces. I'm gonna put all my dies back before I lose them. And let's do a little assembly here. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the tire off. Okay, so just use your paper snips to take the tire off and to take the tow hitch off. Okay, that's trash. And now I'm gonna trim this down just a little bit because you definitely don't want that window to show. You need to cut it down. Okay. Now I'm going to add a little bit of glue here. And don't do a lot of glue because a lot of glue on foil takes forever to dry. And a little bit will hold it. So now you can kind of use and match that right up to place your tire and your hitch right there in place. Okay, we'll let that glue set up. And I'm also going to use a little piece of vellum. And if you have a little cardstock vellum, I think I forgot to put this on the list of what you needed, but you need a little vellum. You don't always have to, but I think it's a cool touch. So I'm just using a tiny scrap of vellum, and I'm going to tuck that in back so that it's going to cover the, make the windows look like they're really windows, right? So I'm just going to shape this so it doesn't show. So there you have it. I'm going to place that on the inside. And you want to know how I'm going to hold that in place? With my dimensionals. So use your dimensionals, just kind of where they're not going to show. Hold that vellum right in place. And one more right up here. And look, I didn't even have to, it was a twofer. A 2-for-1. Glued the windows in and gave myself dimensionals all at the same time. Now, this little piece here, I'm going to paint this banner with Wink of Stella to give them a little sparkle and shine. And I'm going to do it on scratch so that I don't get it on the camper. Because there's something about Wink of Stella on foil that it just doesn't dry, it smears, it goes funny. So, and I'm doing kind of a nice heavy coat because we can and we love it. All right, so we'll let that dry for just a second. And I want to draw your attention to something totally different here. I've not used this in a long time. This is the Simply Elegant trim. You get silver and gold. Thanks for those cutting washi tips. Oh yeah, you're totally welcome. I was having a hard time reading that for some reason. My brain didn't want to compute. Yeah, you have to, you know me, I do not like to use them, but in some cases you just definitely need them. Okay, so I'm cutting myself like a nice long, this is probably like 20 inches of this silver cord here. And what I want to do is, there is a hidden treasure inside this cord. And to me, and it's always been this way with this type of cord, there is a stiffness to it and you can't, it's whatever way it's going to go, that's what it's going to do. But you can minimize some of that stiffness, and it takes a second. Let me see which end it's going to work better with. Maybe this one. Find the end. And if you play with it, I don't know, did you see? I was just able, there are some really fine fibers inside that cord there. I want you to pull those out. Okay, so this is another twofer. Okay, it's going to make your cord a little bit more like you can control it. You can control the way that you want the bow to go. This stuff in here, okay, it's about to get messy. So you know what? I'm going to kind of assemble my card, and then we'll come back to this before we pull this all apart to make angel hair. So that's the twofer. So you get, a 2-for-1. So I'm going to come back to that. And the reason is, if I try and do it now, I'm going to have that angel hair all over and I'm going to get it tangled. I'm going to get everything in place, and then we'll do the angel hair and the camper last. Okay, so let's just assemble. Because on my original card, I had to pull it out because I had got it tangled so many times. So that's the other positive about putting something together for a second time. You're like, okay, I need to do things in this order instead. Okay, so this is going to have dimensionals on the back. So I'm just gonna, whoops, that's just the back. Okay, so I'm just adding 3. Okay. Okay, another question for you about Christmas. Real tree or artificial? Or do you do back and forth? Okay, so this is going to come right about here, okay? And then I'm going to set this one on, and it's going to go on. So part of it's going to be on that, and part of it's going to need dimensionals, okay? So this side here needs dimensionals. So this is the same level, if you know what I mean. We need a term for that. rather than having to explain, I'm partially on, I'm partially off. You know what I mean, Vern? So, okay. So this is going to come kind of right in here. Okay. Coming together nicely. My next layer is going to be the silver cord. Denise, real, you love the smell, especially the noble or white fur. I totally agree. I just hate lighting them. That's my biggest thing. Okay, so now tying a bow here is a little tricky because if I tie a knot, it's gonna just get too clunky. So I'm just gonna try and tell it who's boss and hold on and hope for the best that I can get a tight enough bow without tying that knot. Okay, I'm having a hard time. Ditto, Denise. I like real too. Depending on how heavy I'm gonna decorate it, I may need that artificial if I want to add quite a bit of weight to it. Okay, so I did pretty good there. And you can see that my bow is fairly tame. It's not going crazy. And that's because I pulled that angel hair out of there. Okay, so there's my cord. Okay, next up, okay, I need one of these because this is going to kind of come in here like this. Oh, I already love this Bermuda Bay much better. But I'm going to put this one over here. So this one is going to glue down. And then this one, I need a dimensional on the back of that because it's going to be lifted up here. And so I have half left there. And that tiny little piece is going to go on the back here. And it's still too big, so I've got to cut a little bit of it off. You need just a narrow piece of dimensional here. It's like surgery. But if you kind of work on some of your Christmas cards now, you can make them a little bit more detailed. And what I just called here surgery. Hey, come on, cooperate. There we go. It was not cooperating. Okay, let's see here. Okay, little dimensional there at the top, and then I'm going to stick this end down. And it's that cantilever action. I've got some on the glued level and I'm going to get under the, there we go, come on. Oh, of course there's a dimensional in the way. Okay, we'll stick that there. And then this one, and let me bring the lights in so we know how far apart we're going to go. And I'm going to paint the lights before I put that down. So real fast, I'm going to give my Bermuda Bay a squeeze to grab some ink. And a little, you could use a water painter, you could use an aqua painter, or you could use your Wink of Stella even. And I'm just going to do a little swirly action in there. Cuteness. Okay, I would totally buy that color light. Okay, so I'm going to string this one on, and I'm going to attach the right one. Helps if you can see it. Yes, thank you. Sometimes, you just get to working and you don't realize, and then I look, oh, yeah. So thank you, Denise. You just keep piping in with those. Okay, so now I'm going to string this one. I'm going to tuck it underneath. I'm going to string this across. Okay. And I'm just going to gently, so I did not put glue on this all the way across, and I'm not even going to set that down just yet. But now I know whereabouts that pole is going to go, but I need to get my trees in there before I kind of lock that in place. So let me do this first tree. And my first card, I did not use dimensionals here. I'm going to put dimensionals on this tree. Here again, it's when you're making a second one, you kind of make a few little tweaks, and you're like, yeah, that's how I want it to be. Okay, so I'm going to tuck that tree right there. Yeah, I like that already, much better. Needed that little bit of dimension. This little one, I'm going to glue it. Okay, so I'm going to glue it. You know what? Let me move so I don't have to keep moving we'll go like this. Now I'm not having to do things with everything so far away from me. Okay, a little bit of glue on this tree. And it's going to tuck right in here. Okay. Now I can finish attaching exactly where I want this pole and these lights to go. So if I just kind of naturally let that go, I had a little bit of glue there to hold that one down. Now I can add my glue here. And I don't need to dimensional this one because it's going underneath all of this action. Okay. And again over here. There we go. There's that one. Kick that in just a little bit. Okay. And then this, we'll do this tree last. But let's do the camper. Nope, we're not going to do the camper. The camper is going to be very last because I'm going to do the angel hair layer in there. But before we do that, I am going to put this on. So just a teeny bit of glue. Again, you need some adhesive when you're attaching to foil, but if you have too much, it's going to take forever and ever to dry, and it's just going to kind of skate around on you. So go easy on the glue for this. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of come right across. Okay, we'll set that aside. Had a little glue smudging out the sides. Okay, so this guy is going to go right there. But it's going to need double dimensionals, and it's going to need them, I'm going to do smalls here, minis, way on the side, and I'm going to undo that, and you'll see why in a second. And it's because we've got, it's going to be, I need it way over on the side because it's going to have that is going to kind of be in its way. But it needs to be double thickness because the camper is going to add that. So there's a layer of dimensionals, and then the camper has dimensionals. So that's 2. So now this layer has to have 2 as well, because you'll see in just a second here. Okay, so now this is going to tuck right about there. Okay, now here we go with the angel hair. Okay, so the camper is going to come in here, but I want a nice pool of angel hair in there, okay? And that's going to look great. I'm actually going to park the camper a little further back. You know what? I don't think I got the dimensional back off. Nope, I didn't. There it is. I'm like, how come this isn't sticking? There we go. Okay, so now this stuff here, I'm going to move things out of the way that can get kind of tangled up in it. Okay, I'll bring that back in. I want you to see this mess here. So now if you just kind of play with this, look at all this. And I'm serious, you guys, they used to sell, like you could buy angel hair like this in a bag. I think it's really pretty, like when you're setting up a creche scene. But look at this. I mean, this stuff goes on and on. Look at all that funness of texture. Okay, bring your card in, and I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Seal. Let me move this over just a little bit. See, I've got it all down my chest. There's more of it. So I'm going to just add seal. I'm going to kind of add it underneath where I know the camper is going to be. Okay, there's a little bit of that. Now I'm just going to take this angel hair and just kind of pile it on there. And it just makes it a nice, you can trim some off, but it just kind of echoes the the whole feel of your flocked paper. Oops, got an added surprise in there. I prefer Seal Plus, Suzanne. Okay, and here's my camper in kind of a wintry, snowy scene. There you have it. Cute, 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 cute. All right, so what do you think about pulling apart your even if you don't use the angel hair, I pull that stuff out just so that that stuff will cooperate a little bit better for me. So there you have it. There is our first card. A few changes. Oh, I have to show you what I did on my first one, my original though, that is a little bit different. You can still see a few remnants of the angel hair. I had to cut it because I had got it so messed up. But my original here, I used some of the iridescent rhinestones. Let me see if I have some smaller ones in here. I need to bust open a new pack. Yeah, but I have a couple smalls in here. I'll get a couple on and then I'll have to do a couple more later on. But the small iridescent rhinestones look super cute as light bulbs. So you don't have to put them on, but if you want an over-the-top card for somebody, cute is that, okay? So I need some more. Got to open up another pack. I'll go do that after, but fun and fancy, I agree. All right, so yeah, definitely fun to add those gems in there for the light bulbs. And this one seems to be unstuck. But what's fun is the light is coming through. It is kind of pumping off a little bit of that Bermuda Bay ink, and so it looks really cool. So slightly different changes with I definitely do like the Bermuda Bay poles much better. So then I do the green ones. Cool. All right, there we go. One and done. Super cute. Loving it. Moving right along. Our next card is a happy little card. I think it's just sweet. Again, if you wanted to just switch out all of your, switch out my pink and you do red or green, whichever you choose for this card, if you want to be more traditional. Okay, so where are my pieces? Here are my pieces. So you are going to need for this card, so all of the cards today are on thick basic white. And for this one, I did a half sheet. So I'm 5.5 by 8.5. And I've scored along the long edge, you can see there, at 4.25. And I'm making this a top fold card. So right off the bat, let's just give it a nice crease with your bone folder. And I'm going to start with a background. So, oh man, I don't have my blending brush. And I don't have anything here that will work in place of. Okay, you have to add a little ink. So we're gonna need Pool Party ink, okay? So I think what we'll do is we will blending brush in just a second here, but let's do some stamping and die cutting. And while you're die cutting, I'll go grab my blending brush because I have my pieces die cut already. Okay, so on your quarter sheet, so you'll need a quarter sheet, or go back to your sheet that you used the first time and you can stamp some more trees. In fact, we're gonna stamp a lot of the same way we just did. And where they're still gonna be pink. We're still in pink trees that are being stamped off. So bring your scratch paper in again. And let's take a big, we're gonna do one of each, just like we did before. Stamp off and stamp your tree. Okay. Middle, this is the middle-sized tree. I'm going to stamp off and then stamp my tree. Okay. That one's really light, but that's okay. That'll make it interesting. Just kind of let it happen. That one's stamped off. Okay. So I have 3 trees there stamped. Now this time I'm going to add some balls, some ornaments to the tree here, okay? And I'm going to, this one right here, in order to put some balls if I use that on the little tree, it ends up being just a little few too many. So I'm just gonna omit one for my small tree. You can stamp all of them if you want. But, so you can see I've inked up all of them but this one. And in full strength, I'm gonna stamp that right on that tree there, okay? Giving it a little decor. And now I've inked them all for this tree, okay? And now we'll do the same thing. I'm slightly twisting, and then I'm gonna rotate it, and we'll get in there, okay? So we've just added some dimension there. And you're going to die cut those, okay, for your background. And we're also going to make these trees. We're going to look into a die that we haven't used yet, but there are these really cool detail dies right here, okay? And there's one for each of the trees. And we're gonna cut these, okay? We're gonna cut these with some white diamond glimmer paper, okay? So these are gonna be die cut with just the big, you know, the larger dies, but find yourself, I have a piece of, let me see, where did I put it? Here it is. There is red and white glimmer paper in the catalog. And you may have had some white glimmer from another paper, but I'm gonna cut out one of each of these from this paper. So you're gonna need that. So you've got 6 things so far you need to die cut, okay? And then for our camper on this one, I'll bring the card back in so you can see. We have a silver camper, total Airstream, and I'm going to use more of that Bermuda foil, but here's another die we haven't worked with just yet, and that is this piece right here, okay? And so this piece, while the pieces are close together, they are 2 separate dies, but in one, you know, contained in one. You're gonna cut that and the camper. And I'm also going to use a scrap of, and you could use black. I'm using basic gray here. I'm gonna, you know, you can see I did one here. I didn't do the trailer hitch, but I did want a tire. So if you want the trailer hitch, you could too, but you're gonna die cut those as well. Okay, this is gonna be a super cute camper, you can see. And die cut the flags in a, if you have a scrap of pink, or if you're changing the pink for red, you could do it out of a little red banner. Okay, so you can see we've got a lot of die cutting to happen here, and I forgot some stamping. So we're gonna do just a little bit more stamping. We're gonna stamp 2 poles, and this time 2 strands of lights. Okay, so on your paper here, let's get that done. So I'm gonna bring that image. So I've got my lights and my poles, 2 of each, and we're gonna stamp them in basic gray. Oh, I'm glad it's working better for you now, Kayleen. Okay, let's see if we can keep everything in the camera here. There's my ink pad. So now I will say that the stamping tip on these lights, when you stamp them, don't stamp and rock back and forth. And let me show you what I mean. So if you stamp it and kind of rock it back and forth, of course it didn't do it on this one, maybe because this is a linen, this is a really old ink pad, it's one of the linen ones. But if I do that rock back and forth with, say, one of the foam pads, it just blotches out horribly, if you know what I mean. So just let the weight of the block and a little pressure, and you'll get a crisp image rather than, you know, things getting hazy around the edges, okay? Does that happen to any of you guys? You're like, ugh, I over-stamped it. I stamped it too hard. Okay, there's my one pole. And I like to reverse the direction. I don't know why. I guess I just think I'm saving paper when I'm really not, because I'm still gonna probably throw the scrap away. Okay, so you're gonna need to die cut all of those. And so again, you're gonna go in and use your washi tape to hold these in place, because you should try one without, and maybe you're good at it. but I am not good at it. Okay, so let's get all of these pieces die cut, and we'll be back in, 2 seconds to get these all done. Okay, it's a lot of die cutting. I am gonna go grab my blending brush because we have to have that. Okay, blending brush has been found. All right, so I'm gonna die cut my campers. I think this camper is really cute. At the moment, it's giving me fits. Okay, so I want to show you. So here's this piece here. When you take the pieces out, you can see there's the top, and here's the detail for the bottom of the camper. And here comes the camper itself. Okay. And now I'm going to cut the wheel and the hitch. You could just do the wheel if you want. It's totally up to you. But I definitely like the little gray wheel in there for this one. Okay, there's my hitch. And there's one last thing that we need to do. Let me bring in the original here. You can see I have some white windows, okay? So we're gonna jump ahead, and our card here has a white camper, so let's cut that white camper. We'll set most of it aside, but we'll grab the windows from it, okay? That way you'll have some windows for this one. In fact, that's how I started this entire, when I was making these cards, is I just grabbed papers and started making campers and swapping out the pieces and deciding which camper should be on which. Okay, so cut yourself a white camper for the windows. And then, like I say, we'll use the other. So I want the window. I want that window. And then we'll use this camper. It's stuck in there. Let go. There it is. That will be for our third card. You're a step ahead. Okay. Let me find those. Okay, how you guys doing? I'll give it just a few more seconds. Okay. Here's my little flags. My trees. And I have my pink trees in here. I'm going to use this one. I have a couple of them in here. Ta-da! There. And I need 2 poles and 2 strands of lights. I think I have it. Voila. Okay, so if you have all your pieces, we can start to assemble. Let me know if you're ready to go. Oh, you're making two. Okay, very smart. Yeah, while you're making one, make two. I'll hold on for just a second. Needed a drink. Was feeling parched. Well, because there's a lot of die cutting here, but it's certainly a cute, I don't know that I would bust this set out in December to start making Christmas cards unless I really came up with a very simplified version. In fact, that might be kind of a fun challenge, is to take these cards and do them all in a simple Stampin' version, which I could totally see that happening, and then just die cutting the camper. And then that could be a much quicker approach. But here we go. All right, so with your blending brush and Pool Party ink, we are going to do just a little bit of a blended background, okay? And I know that I'm gonna do kind of a nice big circle of ink here. And on my original, I didn't have it. Here again, going to that making a second one, I'm gonna do a smaller circle of ink kind of off to the side, just to catch a little bit of blue right in here behind that, okay? All right, so with my blending brush, and you know me, I like to use my blending brush, and I'm gonna bring in some scratch paper here, because I like to knock that first ickiness off, okay? And when I start blending, I'm gonna start blending with a pretty light amount of pressure, okay? Because I want a nice even blend of color. I don't want big heavy marks, okay? Just kind of coming around. And then if you turn as well, there's just something that I really like about a white card and a little bit of a blended background. Okay, and I will tell you, this card originally had a nice bright piece of DSP, and I threw it all off to be able to kind of assemble it once I had it designed. And I liked it so much without the DSP that I just decided to nix the DSP altogether. So kind of interesting how it came together. Okay, so here's that other little circle that I wanted to do up in that other tree. And I think we'll call that art. It has a nice, cool feeling to it. Okay, so let's kind of look at the camper here. And because if I kind of play with where I'm going to put the camper, I can make some decisions about where I'm going to put the greeting. Okay, so my greeting, let's see if we can, I took it off because we were using it anyways. I took it off the block. I had it all prepped nice and straight, but I still like to ink up my greetings before I stamp them on anything to see if how I have it mounted on the block, and if I have it, even though it's clear and I can see it, I still have a tendency to hold greetings. I try and hold them very horizontal, and I can see that season is dropping off here. So I'm just going to kind of lift that. Okay. Do that again, and I want to kind of, I'm using the edge of my paper. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So just a tip, yeah, stamp them a few times before you just go straight to your card, even if you've like got the card designed. But like I said, I remounted the stamp, so I didn't know how it was stamping. Okay, so I'm going to tuck this one. I'm going to bring this down just a little bit more. It's going to come right into there, thereabouts. And I'm going to do my greeting right about here, okay? So I'm off to the right side, but not all the way over to the right, okay? That way I knew where that was gonna land. Now if I keep that little camper, even though it's not finished yet, I'm gonna keep that there for just a second. so that I can add my snowflakes in here. Oops, and these are gonna be pool party, not Bermuda. In fact, I'm gonna put Bermuda away. We don't need it. So here's pool party back in the action here. Pool party ink. Okay. And that camper is just kind of a placeholder for me for right now. I'm gonna do some snowflakes right there. And I'm gonna twist this. And I think I'm gonna do some pretty low down in here, right about there. And that's all I'm gonna do. Save your snowflake stamp and pool party. We will add more once I have the other elements almost in place. That way they're placed just where I want them. Okay, but let's zhuzh this camper up. And so to zhuzh it up, I'm going to trim this off. And so, you know, you can decide if you want a silver tow hitch or if you want the gray. I think I'm gonna do gray this time just to mix it up. The other one I left it on, but I'm also gonna cut off the tire. Okay, so this will glue on just like we did on the first camper. There you have it. Okay, just kind of line that up. We'll let that set. And now let's bring in, this is what brings this to life, is the addition of these Bermuda Bay pieces. Like I say, if you didn't have the foil, you could use Bermuda Bay cardstock and then, you know, just give it a little bit of Wink of Stella. Give it a little shine. Okay, again, let me take the card base out of here before I ruin it. I'm using very little very little glue because I want it to set up fairly quick on that foil. Just a little. It'll be plenty to hold it in place. Okay, cute. Whoops. See, it doesn't, you know, it's still skating around even after not putting so much on. Okay, now for the windows, what kind of scissors am I using? You know what? I have my paper snips and then I have this little white pair. These are Martha Stewart paper snips, but just paper. I wasn't using my ribbon scissors. Okay, so those windows that we cut from that other, oh, come on, you. Stay put. So now I got glue on my camper there. Okay, so we're gonna put the windows in. Okay, and actually, oh man, next time I'm using foil on foil, I'm gonna use tape runner. Okay, push it down. Flip your camper over so that you can pop your windows in place. And you will feel which direction it needs to be. And it wasn't the direction I just put it in. There it is. That feels much better. And then pop that one in as well. And washi tape. Even though my washi tape doesn't match, it's never going to show. But I am going to use a little bit of washi tape here to hold my windows in place. Okay. There we go. That way they're not going anywhere. And we'll put dimensionals on here for sure. Okay. And it looks like my window's moving around a little bit. It is. It's open. So I'm going to just lift this up. Oh, sure, you're going to lift it up. No, you're not. Okay. This camper is giving me fits. This piece still hasn't glued. Yeah, all you can do is laugh, right? There you go. Put the window in. Call it done before it decides to move again. Okay. There's my camper. Finally. 30 minutes later, just to build a camper. Okay, so that's ready. I'm going to paint my lights. So the first strand of lights were Bermuda Bay. These strands are going to be polished pink. Okay. All right, so using an aqua painter. You could use an aqua painter, or I think I actually used my Wink of Stella to paint the lights, but okay, so I'm just getting the Bermuda Bay ink out of there. A little bit of water here to just do a quick little swoosh in there of color. And I'm barely even moving my brush. I'm just kind of, you know, you can see just enough to lay down a little color. And there you have it. Fun. Okay, so now I think I have that ready. Next thing to get ready, so here's my poles for that. We don't need the silver window, but we do have some flags here. Now, has that set up yet? My flags are going to stream across there, so I'm going to add a little glue to that. We'll see if we can get them to stick this time, right? Just teeny bits of glue. Should do that trick. And this one, on that other one I kind of went across. This one I'm going to drape it down a little, be a little bit different. Cute. I love those little banners. They look like shark teeth to me too. And then I see shark teeth, and then you don't want to know what I start singing, because if I start singing it, you're going to hate me. Do, 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 if you know what I mean. Okay, so these that we die cut out of the diamond glimmer paper, or the white glimmer paper, these are going to go on each of these trees. Now I want to show you how, I mean, these line up perfectly with the stamp image. So if you were just to stamp the trees and then want a little dimension, you could just do this die cut, you know, stamp the trees right on the paper. Maybe not for this particular card, but just giving you options of what's kind of a fun thing to do with this set. I think there are plenty of options. Okay, so I'm not putting glue everywhere, just in a few areas. Okay, so there's one. There's the big tree. Okay, I really like that. It's got a nice little bit of sparkle to it. A couple more here. Okay. Again, this lines right up with that stamp image, which I think is really cool. Thoughtful on the, you know, the design end to make it so, you know, complimentary of everything. Okay, the last little dude. There you have it. There's your 3 trees. It looks like we have everything ready, and we can now assemble. So bring your card base back in. There's your card base. Here's the original. So let's see if we can kind of have it nearby. Okay, so we have our dimensionals on our camper. The camper that felt like forever to construct. Holy moly. Okay. Now, when I'm placing this, I like the tire to kind of, it's going to go right in line with that light. Okay. See how that is? And I'm going to make sure it's kind of straight across. There we go. Now we can put this one on. This is going to, all of these are going to attach with dimensionals. Bring those in nearby. Have them handy. And I'm going to tuck this one right back in there. Now, don't put things down super heavy because you're going to want to be able to lift that to tuck the lights under. And this one, maybe what I should do before I put this one on, this one's going to go on with dimensionals. Okay? And it's going to tuck in here. But I think before I do that, let's put the pole in. Okay? And so the pole is going to go right in here. Now, it's going to come way down in here. So we're going to chop a bunch of that pole off. Okay? Because we don't want it to show. So this is going to glue on. Look, I did using up paper here. Had used the other side. You can see I had lights there. Okay, so this is going to tuck right in like so. Okay, whoops, I don't want to see any. So it's got to go a little bit higher. Come on, move. There we go. Now I can put my tree on. Okay. Tuck this little one in there, but over the pole. It's a tight fit, but it fits. And this little tree is going to come down here on the other side. Where's a mini? I'm going to do a mini on the top here. Plenty. Come right in there. Oops, it's a little crooked. There we go. Not like there wouldn't be crooked trees in the forest, right? Okay, so I want to add my other pole, and I'm going to have the same deal. I'm going to be cutting a big chunk of that off. Okay, so cut that pole off. Let's get some glue going for it. Okay, tuck it in. And let's see, I'm not going to push down. I'm going to angle it just a little bit this way. Up and in. There we go, maybe. I've got glue there. Blot that off. Now I can string my lights. I'm going to go behind that tree and over to there. That's going to be one strand. And then the other strand, I'm just going to do a little lower on the pole, okay? But they're both going to go behind the tree. So you may have to do a little, I'm still trying to get my pole moved over just a smidgen more. Okay. Now, I'm not doing ink, glue, not ink, but glue. I'm just kind of on the ends. Okay. Remember I said don't push down too hard? Hey, come on. Oh, it doesn't want to let go. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, that was holding on for dear life. Okay, so there's some lights. While I have that tree a little lifted, I am gonna stamp back in Pool Party here my snowflakes. Okay, so I have a few snowflakes right up around this little tree. And I'm going to turn my snowflake image and tuck some down right in there, okay? Don't press your tree down. We got one more strand to tuck back there. It was the dimensional of like Fort Knox. It was on there good. Okay. So now this strand, I'm just going to attach, but string it a little lower on the one side. Okay. And the goal is to get it underneath. I think it looks better. Looks a little more finished off when it's tucked under that pole. Yeah, get in there. I am fighting it. There we go. Okay. There, we have it. Finally, success. Okay, now we can push that down. And last, let's just add a little bit of Wink Stella to these light bulbs. And we'll call it finished. Okay, I bent my tree. And there you have it. I think it's a cute camper card. Camper Christmas cards, that's what we should call this. So fun, but you can see kind of a different play on the windows there, whether you use vellum or just fill them in. We'll have a different approach for our last card, which is my card that is cased. I showed you that, what I cased. So let me bring that card back in from the catalog here. So you can see the card we are casing, okay? So the card we're casing, thank you, Marcia. I like the colors too. I mean, they're just, these sit in my happy zone. So this card here. So part of what makes this card so cool is the embossing folder. And so this embossing folder, let me show you this. Let's see, where did I put it? Here it is. So this is the packaging. That way you can kind of see. It's a little tricky to see right there, but you definitely see it in this card right here. And you can kind of see it, but you do see it here behind the Yeti. But that's what the packaging looks like. And then here is the folder itself, okay? So it's just a bunch of whimsical trees. So it's called Whimsical Woodland 3D, okay? So I'm going to use that for my card for sure. And the pieces that I need, my card pieces, are going to be, again, a thick basic white card base. And mine is a top fold. You know me, I like the top folds best. So I've done 4 1/4 by 11 with a score along the long edge at 5 1/2, okay? So that's my card base. You're also going to need a piece of white to stamp, and it could be scraps. And you're gonna need a 1/4 sheet of Pool Party. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, okay? We're gonna fully cover the front of that like we did our first card. These pieces here are for the camper, okay? So I have Coastal Cabana and white, but if you remember, we needed the windows, so we already cut a white one. So you might be ahead of the game, maybe, maybe not, we'll see. And you're going to need a piece of white, and this piece of white is 3 1/4 wide by 4 1/2 inches tall, okay? So it's basically, it's 1 inch smaller than our card base. And I kind of just did that. You know, as I was doing my case, I was just kind of eyeballing what the size was on this particular card. I don't know their measurements, but that was my guess, okay? So just really liked that card. So let's start with embossing. Now, on this embossing folder, you're going to need plate number 4 or the blue plate. It was kind of a medium toned blue that we had a little while ago. You might have the blue plate. You'll also need plate number 1 or your Big Shot platform. Depends, I'm using a mix of both. So Marcia is saying I would definitely mail these out as Christmas cards. They are so refreshingly different. I likes to be different. Okay, so for my card base here, my background, I'm gonna slip this in the folder. Okay, and remember, you want to, as most often as you can, go through the folded edge goes first. So I'm going to put my number 4 on top with that folded edge, and my platform, okay? So I'm gonna roll that through my machine here. Now you could use any embossing folder. Maybe you have a cute, whoops, my handle just fell off. Maybe you have a cute snowflake folder or Christmas ornament. Oh, hold on, performing surgery on my stamp and cut emboss machine here. All right, I pulled the handle right off. Okay, so use any embossing folder to give yourself some texture. But if you're looking to add a new folder to your, Christmas stash of stuff, this is the one. I mean, it's cute. I think it matches the gnomes. It matches lots and lots of our Christmas sets. It's a happy, lighthearted folder, as it says, whimsical. I don't know that I would put it with, a nativity scene. That's not gonna, unless it's a fairly whimsical nativity scene. But you know what I mean. It sets a more casual mood. Okay, just add that to your card base. Great texture. I agree, Kat. It is great texture. It's been used on all kinds of cards. Oh yeah, being used on all kinds of cards. Snowmen. Yeah, it'd be great with snowmen. Hello, that'd be perfect. Okay, so this piece here that's 3 1/4 by 4 1/2, that will be our next layer. You can kind of see that. And of course we have some stamping to do, so bring in your paper for that. And let's finish, we might as well get our camper finished. So you are gonna need a white camper. We did that on the last card. And we're going to cut the detail pieces that make it a camper and super cute. We're gonna cut that piece there. So we're gonna need that out of Coastal Cabana. You could use Pool Party. You could again use that Bermuda Bay if you wanted. I'm just trying to show you a few different options. Bring in some more gray because we need to cut a wheel. Okay, the wheel and the hitch like we've done in the past. So we've got that. And we're gonna do a few more. So let's stamp we're gonna assemble our camper, then we'll come back and stamp and assemble the other pieces. Okay, so with a scrap of green, this is Granny Apple Green. You can see I've cut some flags and different things. We're gonna use this tiny little die in here. It's not the smallest die in here, to cut ourselves a wreath. Okay, so we want a wreath for our camper. We're gonna deck it out. And there is a bow in this set of dies. It's teeny, teeny, tiny, but look how little that bow is. We're gonna die cut that from polished pink. Again, if you wanna go traditional, cut that out of red. Cut your wreath out of, say, garden green or old olive. And then there's also this funny little piece here. And this is, it could be curtains for your camper. It could also be a window box. You could put it either, top like I've done or bottom and make it be a cute little window box and put things in it. So it's up to you. So we're gonna do that. So let's cut these pieces so that we can be getting our camper ready for action here. Okay. Got to switch your plates out from your Big Shot platform or your plate number 1 and go back to plate number 1 and plate number 2 and then 3, whatever you've got going. Okay. Oops, I've got the dropsies. Okay. This one came right out. I didn't even have to pop it out. Camper. Okay, I think I have everything for my camper. Let's see here. I had a few cut ahead of time. So here's my bow, my curtains, and my wreath. There you have it. Okay, so let's put this camper together like we have in the past. I'm going to cut off the tire and the hitch. And go away. Okay, and we'll glue. We'll put the glue on this piece here. Glue that back on. So this was basic gray. You could use black. You could use, I mentioned earlier, smoky slate, gray granite, any of them. I did have one done in black. One wheel was in black, and it just popped out a little too much. And by going back to the more charcoaly color, I liked that a little bit better. It sat better with me, but it's totally up to you. You could also, since it's white, just color it. I tried coloring the foil with like a black blend. It didn't look good. Okay, so now got my camper going here. Then we need to glamp it up with a wreath. But I'm going to add vellum windows like I did the first time. I really like the little scrap of vellum back there. Sorry. This is so cute. They need to have a camper all the time. Okay, so another little scrap of vellum in here. That should do the trick. More than plenty, so I'm just going to trim some of that off. Okay, so from the back side, I'm just going to hold that vellum on with my dimensionals. Okay. One there. And there. And it looks like I need to just take a little slice off that corner. It was sticking out. And I'll do one right there to hold that vellum on in place. Now, that gives us a place. And you know what? I actually put the curtains on the outside, but that was wrong. They should be inside the curtain, inside. So maybe we'll get it right. Ooh, how are we going to do that and not make it show? Okay. Be smarter than it. Okay. So I'm going to place that there. And I'm bring my... Now I'm just going to do it with a dimensional. So with a dimensional, we'll put the curtains inside instead of on the outside. It's a little funny, right? And maybe I'll just grab this first and then I'll position it. Yeah. Okay. There you have it. Now the curtains are inside. It's funny. Okay, much better though. But I am going to put this little wreath on the door here. So these tiny pieces, that's where your reverse lock tweezers that you get in that embossing kit would be really awesome. And I have some somewhere, like in my medicine chest, you know. Okay, putting a wreath right on that window. Be cute on this window as well. And I'm going to put the little bow on this camper. On the wreath on the camper here. And you could put it up top. Put it wherever. Okay, so now that's ready. I did take a little wink of Stella to the wreath and to the bow. Because it's a Christmas decoration, it has to sparkle, right? Glitter, you love it or you hate it. I love it. Okay, camper is ready. Now let's stamp. So we're going to stamp and die cut some items, and we're going to stamp our panel as well. So first bit of stamping, we're going to stamp 3 trees and the dog. And this is Livy. It's a little black dog. Okay. So let's start with since we love to make these pink trees, we're gonna do a small pink tree. And so bring your scratch paper handy, have it handy, and let's stamp a small pink tree. I'm gonna stamp off. And so there's my second generation of ink. Now I've turned my stamp over and I'm inking up in polished pink. This is the detail, and you'll see it right here when I stamp this. Okay, so there's that detail there. So we're gonna do that in green, Granny Apple Green for the large tree, and we'll do it in Bermuda Bay for the medium-sized tree. But I'm gonna need my stamp cleaner, my nasty stamp cleaner here. Okay, we'll take the pink ink off, and now let's stamp this in Granny Apple Green. So there's Granny Apple Green. If you don't have Granny Apple Green, just a nice bright green, like Pear Pizzazz would be great. Okay, so ink that up, stamp it off. I'm letting the weight of the block pull the ink off. It pulled quite a bit of ink off. So there you have it. But I like that little action there. You guys might not, but I just think it adds some natural looks that you can't recreate it. It just happens naturally. Okay, so there's my detail on the tree. Now let's do the middle-sized tree in Bermuda Bay. If she can find the middle-sized tree, here it is. Okay, again, it had pink on it, so I'm just taking and giving it a clean before we go to Bermuda Bay. Okay, here we go. Bermuda Bay, stamp that off and stamp it. And then let's stamp, and I missed a whole section. I'm gonna keep going, that doesn't bother me. It's not even gonna show once we get the card going. But then when you fill that in with that two-step layer, it definitely doesn't show. Okay, so we need to die cut those three. But before we die cut, let's stamp the little dog. This dog is cute. And I'm gonna stamp it in basic gray. Okay, again, that's a, okay, cute doggy. It does. It's Livy. If you know Livy, when she was born, she was super, super, super dark black. But as she has aged, she's gotten much, much, much lighter. And turn around, she's not, oh, there she is. She's hiding in the pillows. Okay, so there's our stamping that needs to be die cut. So there is a die cut for the doggy. Now, I did 3 dogs before I finally washi taped the dog. It kept jumping on me and I'd cut it off and it'd be like that. So go ahead and, you know, take over, tell it who's boss, and put washi tape on it and say, you will die cut the right way. Okay, so we're gonna die cut those 3. And so to die cut those, I haven't pulled these out just yet. They're still in the, oh, where are they? I don't know where my dies are. They're not in the folder. Uh-oh. They're somewhere in the stamp room. They're not in the bowl. Anyhow, we need to die cut those. Okay, so die cut your dog, die cut your trees. I have one tree done, but I don't know where my die cuts went. Okay. And I thought I had another, Uh-oh. I think I might have put them back in the wrong folder. Okay, so I'm gonna die cut the little dog here. Tell it who's boss. Okay, I have my one tree. And I have a second tree. I just don't have the little tree. I'm just gonna have to fussy cut that one, I guess, since the die's in the other room. I'm not gonna make you wait while I go find it. That's crazy talk. Okay. Okay, pull this out, get this little cute dog. There's also some other dies we haven't used. There are some tree logs, you know, so you could make the trees look like they're, you know, they have a tree stump on them. And I wanted to show it to you, some of these dies, explain them to you. So this one right here, if you look closely, it just looks like 3 tree stumps. They are different sizes. There is a small, medium, and large. That's cute. There's also a die here, and there's 3 of these. And this is for the tree stand. Okay? Good to have you here, Sherry. Yep, you can kind of pick up with the photos and you'll be able to finish later. Easy peasy. Easy, easy. Okay. So, yeah, there's lots to explore in that little set of dies. So we have almost everything we need. I'm missing my pink tree though. So I'm just going to do a real fast fussy cut on this. You die cut since you have it. And I do have the dies. I think they're in the other. So I have these, and I have to pull this off this little bowl here. It's a magnetic bowl, and it's from Harbor Freight. And I think I have 2 of them, and I think it's in the other one. I think I threw them in the other one. Okay, but I'll just kind of do a quick fussy cut here. Not a super fancy, great job. Have you ever die cut first, then use the negatives to hold the blank in your stamp? Yes, I do it all the time if I'm mass producing, Denise. And that's a much faster way to do things. Now, if I'm only doing one, no. But when I'd have class at my house, I would do that quite a bit so that you guys could just come in and set it in there, and that way I could die cut and not have to like hold everything in place. But it is definitely a great technique and a time saver. Okay, so that is a very rough cut of this tree. I think I might do just a slightly better job on this side. Just a little bit better, because it does show. Okay, there you have it. All right, sorry I didn't have that last die cut, or where the dies actually are. So now we have our pieces that we need, but we have a little bit of remaining stamping to do on this piece here. Oh, you know what, you guys? I forgot the strands of lights. Hello, you need 2 strands of lights. That's what brings this to life. No poles on this one, just light strands. Okay? Yeah, you can see the picture. Okay, let's see here. Okay, our stamping. I'm going to start with the big tree. And so the big tree, I'm going to stamp. This is Bermuda Bay. Okay? With Bermuda Bay, I'm going to stamp the big tree. And it was green, so let me give it a clean. So Bermuda Bay, and it is stamped off. Okay, I've stamped this off. I just didn't want a big, huge, dark Bermuda Bay in my card, right? Okay, so I've stamped it off lightly, and it's gonna come right in about here. Again, being inspired by that card on page 38. And now I'm going to do the medium-sized tree that's not the medium. The medium tree is going to be pink. So I basically switched out all the colors on these trees. And this one is going to go off the edge of the page over here on this side. And again, I'm going to stamp off, and give yourself a pink tree right there on the side. Now the small tree, I'm going to do a little small green tree over here. Repeat those colors. That we used. Stamp off. And just a little action right in there. So we're creating a little forest. And now we can put our trees in place. So I have one here. There's my Bermuda Bay and my pink right in there. Okay. And the green, the big green tree is going to come there. Okay. So you can see where this is headed. So I'm just going to glue these all in place. These are all glued. Again, little bit of a really rough fuzzy cut there. Just a little bit more detail. Okay, so there's a 1. And my second. Now, if you wanted to mass produce and not do all this die cutting, you could actually, you know, just mask some of this and then just stamp all of this and not do any die cutting. In fact, I was originally working with some masks and I kind of got distracted and didn't end up finishing it that way. And I do have this one kind of off the edge of the page. I'm okay with that. I kind of like it. Okay. Before we add the camper, let's stamp the greeting. We're going to stamp Christmas greetings, if I can find it. I have a bomb. It looked like it's gone off in here. Okay, so I thought I had it on a block, but nope, I don't. There it is, Christmas greetings. And so I'm just going to pull this "You Light Up the Season" off. We'll put this one on and hope it's straight. And I'm going to do my greeting in the Bermuda Bay. And I'm going to stamp it a couple times just to really get it on the block. And it's actually not on the block straight. And what I meant by straight was my hand kind of curved it, so I kind of pulled it up and let it naturally go into place. Oh yes, that actually is better. You know, because you can kind of move them and misshape them. And I wanted the greeting to be on the block straight and not have any curve to it. Cute, 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 cute. Now, all we have left to do here is add our camper. Okay, we can just kind of place that how you want it. And I wanted it to have enough room that as I'm placing this, I want the little dog's feet to kind of, and so I had to kind of like move this around, but I wanted him to be looking like he was, you know, headed for the door, and his little feet are going to just kind of, you see how they're kind of like right over the G in greetings. Okay, so mini dimensionals for the little pup, just on his feet. Okay, and we'll glue his head once we have our camper glued in place. And we have our windows inside, our curtains inside this time. Okay, so I'm gonna hold little pup here. Okay, there's that. Now I can put the puppy on. Livy. Okay. Here we go. There you have it. I think that's super cute. Super, super cute. This is all going to go on with dimensionals onto our background here. So I'm going to be I'm going to be generous with these because I don't want it to sag, and it's only one layer of cardstock. So I'm going to do 6 here rather than just 4. And I'm going to put this dead center on top of the pool party. Okay. Now let's get those light strands ready. So bring all of your ink pads back into play here. So Bermuda Bay, polished pink, and granny apple green. And actually open them up so you can get to the ink there, so you have a little palette. Okay, there's my palette again, and my palette for the blue. And with an aqua painter, we're gonna just do some multicolored strands of lights here. So I'm gonna start with pink, and I'm just gonna do pink, blue, green, pink, blue, green. And I'm gonna change it up and maybe start pink here, blue, green, pink. Okay, clean your brush, switch colors, green, 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 green. Switch colors, go to Bermuda, and paint all the leftover ones here. And there you have it. Let those dry for a second. They should dry in the time that you're kind of shutting your pads. Okay. Shut your pads. Get your glue ready. Bring your card in. And now we'll just string these. Catch you later, Eunice. Thank you for coming. These are just going to string right across the card. No pull this time. Just kind of, I'm going to do one across like that. And we'll do one the other direction. And then last but not least, we will grab Stella, and she is going to shine her light on this card. She's going to make it sparkle and shine. Because we have to. Because we can. Okay, so there's my other strand of lights. Cute, cute, cute. And wink. Give her a shake. Prime her knot over your cards. Oh, see, that's why. But all that drippiness, and then we'll just sparkle it up. They are some work, but it is paper crafting, therapy, and it's fun to do. Yep, it's work. I think it would be fun to take this and do a simplified version of each one. How can it translate? So maybe one of you could do that and show us what you did. But there you have it. So there is our card case from the catalog that inspired that card and our very first card, and even our little Charlie Brown Christmas tree tag. So there you have it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming back after our crazy Facebook booting us off because we used Brenda Lee. And I guess we won't ever do that again. We will be here tomorrow night for those of you who will be joining me for our Studio Ink Spots. Our game night is tomorrow night, and it is going to be fantastically fun. And I will see you then. Bye-bye, folks.